Hey guys, the Black Critic Guy here with my first session of Why I Won't Watch in 2016. Now, for those of you unfamiliar with this series, the Why I Won't Watch segments are where I detail my reasons as to why I won't watch a certain movie, TV show, anime, or what have you. And for today's session, I'm going to be detailing my reasons as to why I won't watch the new Michael Bay film, 13 Hours, The Secret Soldiers of Benghazi. Now, before beginning this video, I want to make one thing perfectly clear. I am not making fun of or critiquing or making light of the real Benghazi incident or the brave men who put their lives on the line to save and protect the people involved in this tragedy. The courage, valor, and sacrifice displayed by these brave soldiers and the victims of the incident should be commended and respected. And their story is one that definitely deserves to be told to a wide audience. It's just that they should have picked a better person to tell their story. They needed a director who could take this very real and very recent story and treat it with the care and respect that it most definitely deserves, and to handle the magnitude of this tragic situation in the right way. Getting the director of the Transformers films to tell your story was a pretty bad call. And saying that leads me to my first and biggest reason as to why I won't watch this film. And that's because it's a film directed by Michael Bay that's based on a true story. Yeah, because the last two films Bay directed that were based on true stories were such gems and so accurate and respectful to the real life events. Every true story film that Bay has ever directed, he treats like a popcorn action film, and that's it. He puts no real effort into being faithful or respectful to the real life accounts. This was evident in films like Pearl Harbor, where instead of putting the focus on the tragedy of the Pearl Harbor attacks, they focus on this bullshit love triangle that is completely irrelevant to the point of the freaking film. And the two individuals that are a part of this love triangle aren't even in the initial attack. I mean, at the very least, you could put your two main characters, your two fictional characters, in the heart of the attack and actually get their perspective as to what is going on. Instead, no, they're off in a field somewhere like it's freaking Steel Magnolias in this bitch. And to add insult to injury, they fabricate so much of the actual attack that it's freaking insulting, both to the audience as you're misleading them and to the people who actually experienced the tragedy. Like the Japanese shooting at hospitals, that never happened. There are no accounts during the Pearl Harbor attack where the Japanese shot at hospitals. Or the one that just completely baffled me and kind of pissed me off, naval officers who can't fucking swim. Now, I don't know what the protocols, procedures, rules, and regulations of the Navy was back in the early 1940s, but I think it's safe to assume that if you're joining the Navy branch of the US military, which is primarily at sea, you need to learn how to fucking swim. Or how about Michael Bay's most recent true story film, Pain and Gain, where they took the real life story of these assholes who kidnapped, tortured, and killed people and turned it into an action comedy. Yeah, it's so freaking hilarious to laugh at a portrayal of a real life situation where a guy got kidnapped, tortured, and left for dead. Oh man, laughs all around. Not only that, but the film got so freaking ludicrous that they actually had to remind you that this was still a true story. Like The Rock is grilling his toe, and then on the side of the screen it says, remember, this is a true story. If you have to blatantly remind your audience halfway through the film that they're still watching a true story, chances are that many of them are going to seriously doubt the validity of your claim. Overall, my point is that Michael Bay has shown time and time again in the past that he is unwilling to make a fateful portrayal of a real-life event. And I'm sorry, but a story as real and tragic as 13 Hours deserves more respect and care than an average popcorn flick. And from the looks of the trailers, that's exactly what they're going to give us. And speaking of trailers, the second reason as to why I won't watch this film is that from the trailers alone, it looks like the film's gonna be pretty by the numbers, borrowing heavily from other recent successful military films like Lone Survivor, American Sniper, and Zero Dark 30. It looks like the way they're presenting the film will make it just like every other military film that has come out in the recent years. It won't have its own unique style or its own unique flair. And to me, it shows that the filmmakers didn't care enough to give the film its own identity. They rather just make it just like every other film that's come out. And that's unfair to the real life story. It could have its own unique style. It could go a different direction, have a new perspective to the whole modern warfare feel type film. Instead, they're just trying to make it a cross between Zero Dark 30 and Black Hawk Down. And if I'm being honest, I'm getting pretty sick and tired of seeing the same type of military films every single year. I would like more variety in this genre. And the third and last reason as to why I won't watch this film is that considering that the film is being released in early January, shows me that the filmmakers and the studio does not have confidence in this film to do well. It's common knowledge that January and August are the times where studios release their bargain films to theaters. Films that either weren't that good enough to compete with the rest of the competition, or films that were such huge failures and black eyes on the studios that they decided to just release it in a month where no one really cares to see their movies. Now, I'm not saying that by releasing 13 Hours in January, that automatically means that the film will turn out to be complete and utter shit. There have been precedents before where films were released in January and turned out to be critical and financial successes, including some recent military films like American Sniper and Lone Survivor, both being released in January. But unlike 13 Hours, both American Sniper and Lone Survivor were released limitedly in December so that they could compete in the Oscar competition. I haven't heard tell that 13 Hours was released limitedly in December. I believe it's just being released in January. Now, you can look at this as a brilliant strategic ploy by a studio to make more money in January, considering that in the past 2 years, war films have been very successful with January release dates. In 2014, it was Lone Survivor. In 2015, it was American Sniper. And in 2016, it could be 13 Hours. It could join that very small group. Or you could see it in the negative light and say that they released the film in January 15th because they don't have confidence for this film to compete with movies being released in spring or summer. And for me, while I can see the former, I'm gonna choose the latter. And those, ladies and gentlemen, were my reasons as to why I won't watch 13 Hours, The Secret Soldiers of Benghazi. But I'm not the end-all be-all opinion when it comes to this film. Maybe a lot of you are looking forward to the film. Maybe you agree with my points. I would love to know what you guys think. So comment below. Let me know. Are you excited to see 13 Hours? Do you think Michael Bay will deliver? Or do you think it will turn out to be a huge pile of shit? And stay tuned. I got some episode reviews coming your way tomorrow and 2 videos on Friday. One will be a movie review and the other one will be a very special video courtesy of Jennifer Rose. So until then, guys, if you'd like to see more videos on this channel and be a part of the Black Critic crew, please hit that subscribe button below. Like this video if you really enjoyed it. And I'm Tony Watt II, the soldier known as the Black Critic Guy. Till then, peace, YouTube.